Thanks for tuning in to Chats with Your Self-Worth BFF. This is your host, Michaela Falar, where we are here to skyrocket your self-worth, heal your shit, and take your power back. Welcome to the chat. Hey guys, welcome back to Chats with Your Self-Worth BFF. It's your host, Michaela Falar. I'm going to be chatting with you about my weekend today. So I decided to go out of town, go back where I'm originally from, born and raised, Ventura, California. And my mom still lives there with her boyfriend. I call him my stepdad. He's been in the family for over 10 years now, so they're married in my opinion. And anyways, I digress. But it was such a beautiful time. It was also a weird time because I moved out of Ventura in February of this year, as some of you know who have been listening to this podcast. And when I drove there, whenever I drive there, I've gone and visited a few times, and I feel like whenever I drive there, there's this mountain basically that you come over. It's called the Thousand Oaks Grade, and it overlooks all of Camarillo, Oxnard, Ventura. It's really pretty. But whenever I go over that grade, I feel this sense of ick. And for me, it's kind of mixed with anxiety also, just of knowing that it's just was a knowing of that, the fact that I made the right decision to move out of Ventura. And since moving in February, I have grown a lot. I've done a lot of personal development, become a lot more self-aware, and done a lot of internal work, which is what I share on this podcast. And a lot of times, so in Ventura, a lot of the people that live in Ventura have lived there their entire lives. My mom was born and raised there. She never left. And that's a lot the case for a lot of people. And you might resonate with this if you currently live in the place that you have been born and raised and you just don't know anything different. And it's normal for that because moving is fucking scary and you don't know if you're going to like it or if you're going to hate it or if you're going to be able to make new friends. And there's just all this unsureness around moving to a place where you literally you don't know anyone and you don't know the place and you have to get to know the street and the town and where you're going to go to the gym, where you're going to get your hair done, where you're going to get your nails done, all those things. But I did it, and I will tell you, if you've been thinking about moving out of your hometown, if it's even a thought in your brain, just make the jump and just do it. It was such a life-changing experience for me. Gave me a lot of time to reflect and spend a lot of time alone, which I do now. And this weekend, I had a dinner. I got to meet my mentor in Malibu, which was so freaking amazing. Her name's Allie Ninfo, and I've been working with her since October of last year. And you all know how life-changing that has been, obviously, for me. Working with a mentor has been amazing. 12 out of 10 recommend. But I have this dinner planned with her to meet her in real life because I have only been meeting with her via Zoom or online, Instagram, all the things. And so I was like, well, it's in Malibu. Malibu's a 30-minute drive from Ventura, which is where I'm born and raised. And I was like, I'm going to make a trip out of it and go see my mom. I hadn't seen my mom in a month or two, and I missed her, so I wanted to go see her. And so I did. And as soon as I got over that TO grade, man, I just had this overwhelming sense of oh God, I do not belong here anymore. I'm so happy I moved. And when do I get to go home? When do I get to go home back to Costa Mesa? So I got to my mom's and I had some work to get done. So I got some work done, and then we went out to dinner. And after dinner, I took my dog to our favorite dog park. Just me and the dog, me and Zeus. And I was alone, obviously. And when you spend a lot of time alone, you really have got a lot of time to think about things. And being in that town just, obviously brings back a lot of memories and a lot of realizations of how much I've grown. And when I was at dinner, I texted a friend and was like, hey, do you want to go like meet for drinks or something? And she was busy. So like we didn't end up doing that, obviously. It was very, very last minute. Like I didn't make plans with any friends. But there was like a part of me, which I realized after like that Friday night, that was like a part of my old self that wanted to like go out downtown and have a drink. And of course, yes, it would be like so great to visit with my friends. And I didn't really like, I had plans to go to the gym with my little sister in the morning on Saturday morning. And so, like, I didn't want to wake up and feel gross, which not saying that I was going to go out and like get hammered or whatever, but like, I didn't need to go out and like go to the bar and have a drink at like my old stomping grounds. Like, I just didn't. And part of me is really glad that my friend was busy and that I wasn't able to do that. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because it was like the realization I had of like, I don't need to like go out downtown Ventura and like go to the places where I used to go and see the people I used to see. It's just like not really like, I just didn't really like, I didn't really want to go do that. It was just like something that I did out of, that's what I normally do when I'm in Ventura type of thing. So, and I also could have, after like being at the park, I was also like thinking like, oh, I could go to I worked at a brewery, I could go to the old brewery that I worked at and see like my old coworkers, say hi, have a beer, go home. But then I decided not to do that. I was like, you know what? No, like I don't need to do that. And so I didn't. I went home and my mom has a jacuzzi, or my mom and her boyfriend have a jacuzzi. My mom's boyfriend's name is Bill. Shout out to Bill. Love ya. And he and my mom were just hanging out on the couch, like chilling, whatever, watching TV. And I decided, you know what, like I'm going to go in the jacuzzi. And they didn't want to go in. I just went in by myself and had a little moment. And I had a couple glasses of wine at dinner, which is probably why I wanted to go out and have another drink. And then when like I, got away from the high of having a couple glasses of wine in my system and like drank water and like came back to myself without that need for the third drink, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get in the jacuzzi and not open another bottle of wine and have more wine. Like I'm just gonna go in to the jacuzzi and be alone and relax and be by myself. And I watched the sunset in the jacuzzi and it was absolutely beautiful. And it was a moment of like I literally sat there and I was like just alone and I'm like, this is so nice. Like it was so nice. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's a part of us as humans that always want to be surrounded by people or a person. And it can get hard to spend that time alone, to reflect and to recognize that like being alone is actually a really great and beautiful thing. And so when I was in that jacuzzi and I like was just sitting there and I was just watching the sunset and I was alone, and I was like, this is a moment that I'm going to remember, because it was a moment of reflection and like realization of like a past me, that like a person like I once was. Because like my past self would be like, let's go downtown and let's drink and dance, and which, not saying that that's bad like at all. I love having fun still, obviously. And I wasn't going to force it. Like I reached out to my friend, she was busy. I'm not going to like try and scurry up all the other friends that I have to like make this happen for myself. Like, no. Like I was just like, you know what? No, like it's not meant to be. Like I'm meant to have some time alone and reflect. And it was just like a night, an evening where I was just by myself, drinking water, watching the sunset in the jacuzzi. realizing all of the growth that I've made and realizing that like I don't need to be constantly stimulated by other people, places, or things. And that sitting in that solitude is amazing and something that we should all take the time to do. And it's hard to have that realization and to realize like, I maybe should be spending a little bit more time by myself. There's a reason that it's not happening easily. Whenever I find things like hard to happen, like hard to make happen, I'm like, okay, well, it's just not meant to be. Things flow when they're meant to be, right? Right. So with that being said, got out of the jacuzzi. I ended up watching a movie with my mom on the couch, and that was super nice to spend the time with her. And then I woke up in the morning and I went to the gym with my little sister. And like, my sister is so cute. I'm so proud of her because she's totally blossoming into this, like, just grown woman. And she sings and writes her own music and plays guitar and the piano. And she's just super talented in the artist, singer, songwriter world. Her name's Ella Olivares. I'll link her Instagram for you guys so you can listen to her music and follow her. So I go to the gym with Ella, my sister, and we have a great workout. It was really great to see her. I get done, and then my parents want to go to lunch. And I'm like, absolutely, I want to go to lunch. So we go to lunch, but at first they wanted to go to this place where I basically grew up in. Like, it's this restaurant bar that my whole family, like, really loves. And I used to really love it too until I didn't. I guess I just, like, I know, like, I don't know. Like, I immediately, as soon as the name was called, I won't call out the restaurant, but as soon as the restaurant was, like, named, oh, we're going to go here, I was like, I'm not going to go there. Like, you guys can go there, but I'm not going to go there. And it was, like, a sense of, like, and they're like, why? And I'm like, I just don't want to go there. There was, like, multiple reasons why I didn't want to go there. I explained them to them. And also, that wasn't the first time that happened in the day that I spent with my parents, because after that, we ended up going to the downtown area, which there's like a bunch of little shops, and I took Zeus and we like shopped around and walked up and down the main street, which is just, it's a really nice walk, and it was such a beautiful day. It was like sunny 75. So I do that with him. I ended up meeting them to like have a lunch and hang out and stuff for a little bit before I went to Malibu to have lunch with my mentor, or have dinner with my mentor. And when I was there, they were like, there was two other places that were mentioned that I was like, they're like, at first I mentioned it. I was like, do you want to go to the old brewery that I worked at and we'll grab a beer? And then my stepdad was like, yeah, we can go to your old stomping grounds. As soon as he said that, I was just like, immediately got this like whole feeling over my body that was just like, nope, we're not doing that. We're not going there. So we didn't. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the place. It's just like, I just didn't have the desire to go and like be around a bunch of people that I knew at that point. And so didn't go there. And then there was another place that I also used to, I've worked everywhere. I've been in the service industry since I was 16 years old. So I have worked in a lot of places in Ventura. So there was a second place in that area that I had also worked at, and they wanted to go in there. And I was like, you guys can go in there, but I'm not going to go in there. And at that point, they were like, okay, like, where else can you not go? Like, what is happening? Like, what's happening with you? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, honestly, I can't even explain it. But ever since I got like more in touch with like my intuition and my body and my sense of self, and like knowing where I thrive and where I don't thrive, and knowing where I'm meant to be and where I'm not meant to be, like, I just immediately know if it's a yes or no, if I'm going to go to that place or if I'm not going to go to that place. And my whole energy and my whole, like, I feel like sense of self is just so different. Like, I'm a completely different person than I was a year ago. And so going to the places where I used to go when I was that person, I guess kind of just like at that day, in that time, in that point in my life, I was like, no, we're not going to do that today. So we didn't. And I guess that was just kind of like a weird, like, eye-opening moment of my growth, and realizing that, like, I used to do things like, whatever, no big deal, I'll do whatever, and I'm down for whatever. And like now I'm like actually voicing if I'm up for it or if I'm not up for it, which was a huge growing moment of, I'm not in my people pleasing era anymore, which I've done a podcast episode on that too. So if you want to listen to that, if you are in your people pleasing era and you want to get out of it, go listen to that podcast episode. But basically, I realized that I have outgrown Ventura. I've outgrown places in Ventura, and I've outgrown people, some people in Ventura. And I don't know, it's just like a moment of realizing, oh my gosh, that I have just grown. Anyways, I digress. I get done with hanging out with my parents for the day, and I head to Malibu, and I have dinner with my mentor and another mentorship student of hers. And it was so amazing to meet her in real life. And if you ever have had like an internet bestie or internet like person that you work with and you finally get to meet them in real life, like, you know what I'm talking about. It's such a cool and interesting experience to like see them in real life. We live in a weird world. But that dinner conversation was it was unlike any conversation I have ever had in my freaking life. Like, we talked about so many different things that if I was to try and talk to anybody else about these things, like, they would literally look at me like I'm a psychopath, which is, like, some people, the people who get it, get it. The people who don't get it, like, don't get it. Like, it's fine. What I teach, what I have learned, and the way that I live my life isn't for everyone, and not everyone's going to understand it. But the chances are, if you're listening to this, you understand it. So we talked about, obviously, life catching up. We talked about relationships. We talked about growth and, like, you know, our circle getting a lot smaller when you change and grow as an individual. And that is definitely something that I've realized in the, like not so long ago. I realized that, wow, like, my circle has gotten a lot smaller since I've done this work on myself. And I've been unavailable. I've set boundaries, and I have kind of, I guess, expectations of, like, the people who I surround myself with. Meaning, like, if you're not on the same level of growth as me, like, we're probably not going to, like, mesh very well. Like, it's not going to be like an energetic match, because you're not going to understand what I'm saying or the way that I'm speaking, and I'm not going to understand what you're saying and why you're stuck or think XYZ. And I am, like, have already moved past that. I've surpassed it so much. And when you grow and you learn about your limiting self-beliefs and you rewire them and you choose to speak a different way and see the world in a more positive light, it's really hard to be around people who haven't done that work, who don't see everything as a positive, and even if it is a negative, to see the silver lining in things. So to be able to be at a table sitting with these women talking about, you know, our life and also the things that we've learned, and just being on the same level as each other, was like such a breath of fresh air. And because it's hard to find people who are willing to, like, put in the work that you've put in, which is why your circle tends to get smaller when you grow like this. I've also moved, so that had a lot to do with it. Obviously, making new friends when you're 30 is not always the easiest thing to do, but it is possible. I've made a lot of new friends here, and I do love my new friends and my new little circle that I've created. But the reason I'm saying this is, like, if you are on a growth journey, if you are on a self-awareness journey and a healing journey, to, like, keep going, like, and if you lose friends or people fall out of your life, like just just keep a note, a mental note that they're leaving your life to make room for new people. And doesn't mean that you're not friends with them at all. It just means that you're not in such close proximity. You're not allowing them into your energy space as much as you used to. And you want to protect your energy. Like I do my best to protect my energy every day. Meaning I don't hang around people who are constantly like in a lack or in a scarce mindset. Like I cannot, because you are the people who you hang around. And if you're hanging around people who are constantly talking about all the negative things in their life, or talking about other people in a negative light, or talking about how everything is so expensive and like, you know what I'm saying? Like I've done my best to rewire my subconscious limiting beliefs to work on my money mindset. And like I just can't afford energetically to be around people who are going to suck that out of me, to suck, like, we call them energy vampires. So with that being said, after having my amazing dinner, I went home and to Costa Mesa, and I cannot tell you how excited I was to be home. Like, seriously, I got home and I put a face mask on and I went to bed with I hung out with my dog and we went to bed, and it was amazing. Woke up in the morning, went on a long walk with my dog. Then we went to the U.S. Open, and I rode bikes with my friends and to the U.S. Open, which is like a surf contest in Huntington Beach, and it was super fun and cute, and just had like a cute little afternoon. After that, went to the grocery store, got groceries, didn't feel like cooking, ended up getting pizza with my neighbor, and that was also a really awesome experience. And it was cool to like connect with him in a way that like we hadn't connected before. Like actually getting to know your neighbor is a pretty cool thing. And he's actually a business owner too, and he makes the coolest he does woodwork, so he makes like the coolest furniture, custom made, obviously. So like we got to talk about that and like his passions and his business, and he was just like on the same wavelength as far as like business building and stuff goes. So yeah, it was just like a realization of like, and like I didn't get hammered. You know, I had a few drinks here and there, but like I didn't get hammered over the weekend. I was intentional with like my conversations and the people that I surrounded myself with. And it was just like a beautiful weekend of realizing that I'm growing and realizing my growth that I've made so far and how far I've come. And I had a friend that I went to high school with, and I saw her at the gym, and I went up to her and I said hi and gave her a hug. And she was like, I am so like proud of you. Like seriously, your energy has there's something that you've done in the last few months that your energy is just so different, and so much like it's just so different. And so to hear that, and I've gotten those messages via DMs and stuff on Instagram too. So it's just like so cool for the energy shifts to be recognized. So I'm doing my best to like protect my energy and make sure that I stay on that path of like being that light, right? So to reel it all in, the realization of how far I've come, and knowing that like growing is hard. Your growth journey is hard. It's becoming self-aware is hard. Like learning why you are the way that you are is hard, and choosing to see things like in a different light is hard, because I'm still human and I still fall back sometimes on my like old limiting self-beliefs, and I do let like my past trauma sometimes get into my mind. It sneaks up on you, you know? And that doesn't mean that you're not moving forward still. And in fact, when those thoughts come back into your life, like that's a moment, that's a chance for you to like catch them and be like, "Oh, that's not from my new self, that's from my old self." And then to like take that and rewire it and be like, "Okay, I see why I'm thinking like this." And then you shift it. And I swear, you guys, shifting your energy, like shifting your limiting self-beliefs in the moment that they're happening is so like such a game changer. So like for instance, I used to always say like always, I'm such an idiot. Like literally I think that came out of my mouth like 5 times a day at least. And then I had this friend who, and she was like, why do you always say that? Like, you're not an idiot. You're so smart. You're so smart. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't know why I do say that. Why do I say that? And then I did like the rewiring behind that. And I said that because in school, I was never like book smart. I always had good grades. I always got my homework done and stuff. But like, I was never like super smart. And there was a few tests that I cheated on and like homework that I copied. And I guess that I just let people get to me because I was always asking for help, and like they would make me feel, there were some people that made me feel stupid for asking for help. So if you are that person, if that was you, just know that you're not stupid. Like everyone has their own like thing that they're actually good at, and we're all supposed to have separate things that we're good at. We're all not supposed to be good at everything. If everyone was good at everything, then like nobody would need help. It's okay to ask for help. It doesn't make you stupid. I'm not like super book smart, no, but like I am really smart in other ways. I'm, as far as life experiences goes and helping people through life experiences and working through trauma, and like I've found my passion through what I'm doing now, helping people through trauma, helping people heal their shit, helping people rewire their subconscious beliefs, their neural pathways in their brain. Like I've found my passion and I'm studying it and I'm doing really well at it and I love it so much. And I am smart and I have helped so many people. And I am also really smart in health and fitness. And so it's like you focus on that instead of focusing on the things that you're, not so great at. Focus on all the things that you are great at and realize that you are smart, and stop calling yourself an idiot because you're not an idiot. Sometimes we do stupid things, but that doesn't mean that we should identify with the fact that, like, quote, we're an idiot. So I guess to tie all this together, I would say if you're on a journey of self-awareness, if you're on a journey of spiritual growth and enlightenment, keep going. I know it's hard. I know that your circle getting smaller isn't necessarily like a feel-good thing, but just remember that it's opening space for new people to come in that are on the same wavelength as you. And that is going to be like such a beautiful thing. And if you're feeling stuck, like I was feeling stuck when I was living in Ventura in my hometown, and like I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, most likely you've grown out of the environment that you're in currently, and it's time for you to make a change. And I know change is scary, but you got this. So keep growing, keep learning, keep moving forward. Let the people who want to walk out of your life because you have, quote, changed, walk. They're not your people anymore. If they don't get you, that's not your responsibility. Stop being a people pleaser. Stop saying that you want to do things that you don't actually want to do. And just keep going. I know it's not easy, but it's worth it. You're worth it. That's all I got for you today. Chat soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this resonated with you, please make sure you leave a rating and review. Like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. Make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Kayla Cakes, at KAELA.CAKES. Visit my website at MichaelaRyanFalar.com to find out more about my coaching services. All of these links are in the show notes below. Make sure you tune in for next week's episode. New episodes are out every Tuesday and Friday. Chat soon.